Community Matters. Today is Thursday, and that means Shreveport Mayor Tom Arceneaux is back in our studio this morning to update us on the latest community issues. Mayor, thank you so much for being with us once again.
Yes,
it's
always
good to be
a
here. Pleasure.
Yes.
You've been very, very busy. Let's just jump right into it. The Block by Block initiative is still going. You guys are in Queensboro this weekend on the 12th. Tell us what you guys are working on.
Well, we'll be in the Queensboro neighborhood starting at Bilberry Park. That's where we're going to base, and I think we're going to have some community volunteers that will be there. So it's partly cleanup and partly one of the major things we're trying to do is gather information. So we'll be giving out surveys and asking people to complete those surveys so that we'll have an idea what the people of Queensboro really feel is important for their community. We don't want to assume that we know best for them. We want to know from them what they would like to see in their neighborhood.
That's great that you're hearing straight from the people. I understand that you guys were in Highland this past weekend, but the weekend before that. What did you guys hear in Highland that were some of the issues that people were having there?
In Highland, it was pretty close to what we thought, and generally what we are finding is that we think we have an idea what people will want, and mostly that's what they want, but we want to make sure that they are on board with what we're going to be trying to do. One of the key elements of this will be redevelopment. We really want to know how they think we could go about best redeveloping their neighborhoods, because there's not just blighted property, there are empty properties, and we're trying to repopulate those neighborhoods. So it's very important to know what the neighbors think, particularly homeowners in that neighborhood, because they are the ones that have an investment. In some of these neighborhoods, you have older homeowners who have spent their life paying for their home, and they don't want to see the home decreasing in value. We want to find a way to preserve that value for them, because that's transitional, generational family wealth that can be passed down, and if the value drops, then it reduces that transfer of wealth.
That's right.
All right, then. Well, we're going to just shift gears a little bit to touch on the deadly flooding that's been happening over in Texas. Recently, Shreveport was able to send some relief out. So, Mayor, can you please elaborate on some of that assistance that was sent over and just the importance of helping out our neighbors in situations like this?
All communities try to have mutual assistance, so that if we were to have a serious problem, we would have assistance from people, and when we're able to provide assistance, we're glad to do that. So we have a highly trained, very skilled swiftwater rescue team, and that's who went down there with the boat to try and work on what we hope are rescue operations instead of recovery operations, so that they'll find people who have been swept downstream.
Now here in Shreveport, we've got a couple of large bodies of water, Cross Lake and Red River. We saw some pretty intense flooding back in 2015 on the Red River. What about the protocols that we have here in place? I think that it makes us think about home whenever we see things happen like this on the news, and we think, is that possible here? Are we prepared? Yeah,
we don't really have the kind of topography and weather patterns that would result in water rising. I mean, the Guadalupe River rose 26 feet in 45 minutes. We don't have anything that would cause that. But when the Red River gets high, most of our waters, most of our drainage drains into the Red River and then down into the Mississippi River. Well, if the Red River is high, there's no place for that water to go, and so we end up with some high water. But it usually is relatively slow rising, so we have a chance to tell people to evacuate if they need to evacuate, or to send people to rescue folks. We rarely have life-threatening circumstances. We have some property-threatening circumstances.
Yeah, so we are prepared.
Okay, well, now it's time to get down to our interactive portion of our interview, where we asked you all to weigh in and let us know what you would like the mayor to touch on. And looks like you guys overwhelmingly chose new blight rules for Shreveport. So, Mayor Arceneaux, please touch on some of those new blight rules that we should be aware of in our districts.
The main thing that we did, the City Council passed a vacant and blighted property ordinance for downtown. We have a number of vacant and blighted properties downtown, and so what we're trying to do is encourage people to restore those properties or to sell those properties to somebody who will restore those properties. So we haven't made changes to the property standards code for the rest of the city as of yet. We're going to try this downtown and see if it works well, and I think it will. We're patterning it after a similar ordinance that was passed in West Monroe a number of years ago, and it has resulted in some redevelopment of downtown West Monroe.
That's great. Mayor, thank you so much for joining us this morning. We really appreciate your insight on all of these issues. Again, we'll be putting all of this online so you guys can find it there, ktalnews.com. If you want more information on the Block by Block initiative, you can also find it there. Stay with us. We'll be right back.